Deal flow, deal flow, deal flow, deal flow, deal flow. Deal flow is what makes deals happen. And yet, what I see my clients and people who message me and DM me, what I see them do or not do is they do not pursue deals actively enough. They build the team, they pick the right sector, they think for hundreds of hours about how they're going to raise the capital, they build this great business plan, and then they have one deal they're looking at a time and they invest 3 months on this one deal. Oftentimes, they haven't even seen tax returns. They haven't even seen financial statements. They don't even know how the thing is managed. They haven't even done a SWOT analysis, a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis on the business. They don't even know anything about the deal. And yet they can talk about this deal and talk about this deal and talk about this deal, but they're talking about all the wrong things. They're talking about how much of a relationship they have with the seller and how they're really excited about this business for reasons they can't really explain. And people get romantic about deals, and usually they get romantic about one deal, and usually it's not because it's a great deal, but it's because they lack enough deal flow. You probably remember a guy in high school or maybe in college who got really interested in a girl. The girl barely even paid any attention to him, but because maybe the guy wasn't doing that well in the ladies department, he just spent his whole day and every week and every month thinking about the girl, talking about the girl, imagining a life with this girl, and the girl didn't even know his name, right? And that's what happens with a lot of aspiring deal makers. And maybe you've been in this position yourself. Now, the way you get out of this is simple. Allocate a much larger portion of your deal making efforts towards cultivating deal flow, which then begs the question, how do you cultivate deal flow? Well, number one, go on the obvious online forums like BizBuySell, Crexy, LootNet. There are others, and there are industry specific brokerages and websites that you can check out. You can also, in some cases, go on LinkedIn and find deal flow on LinkedIn. You can find deal flow in Facebook groups. You can get connected to brokers and listing agents and investment bankers. You can, of course, go on Google and start making outbound calls and simply ask to speak to the owner. When you get the owner, say, hey, wanted to know if you're interested in selling. I'm the founder of XYZ Investment Group. We're making acquisitions in your sector, in the XYZ sector. That works. Smile and dial, knocking on doors. You can show up unannounced and just ask to meet the owner. Meet the owner. And of course, you're not going to meet the owner every time you show up unannounced, but a percentage of the time you show up, you will. When you meet the owner, ask him or her simply, hey, are you thinking about selling? You can also go to industry conferences. You can cultivate a lot of deal flow at industry events. I actually received a great proprietary leads list back when I started Brighter Living from an industry conference I went to. I went to an industry conference down in Orlando, Florida, had to travel. Now I'm in Florida here in Tampa Bay, but back then I didn't live in Florida. Traveled to Florida, traveled to Orlando, had a 3-day event, learned a ton about the industry, and got a very valuable resource in the form of an industry leads list where it had a ton of the different businesses in the industry, the owner's name, contact information, all that good stuff, which turned into a great resource for cold calling. There's a multitude of ways to go about cultivating deal flow, but it all starts here. It's what's between the ears. People don't value the importance of deal flow highly enough. They don't value that deal making necessitates a deal. You need 100 deals coming through the pipeline to perhaps get one that is a right and good deal for you. People think they look at 3 deals and they're going to do one of them. No, you need to be looking at 30 deals, 300 deals. That's the volume you need. And this gives you leverage in negotiation. It makes you more credible with lenders and investors alike. When you actually have a great deal, and when you've actually taken the time to talk to enough potential sellers, you look at enough deals, you actually see the true winners from the losers. You don't get fooled as easily because you have turned over enough rocks to see what's what. And it establishes yourself as a legitimate player in the industry. And this, again, makes you more attractive to lenders, investors, brokers, the whole gambit. Sellers have to respect you. They know they can't play you. And so it all starts with deal flow. You want to be a deal maker, you want to do deals, by definition, you need deal flow. And yet, most of the people I work with, they focus on everything else but doing the actual outreach to cultivate deal flow. And let me be frank, going from 0 to 1, it's going to be difficult. Before you've done your first deal, you're going to have to fight to get deal flow. Once you're an industry player, then the deals come to you. And I'll be honest, it's nice. That's where I'm at now with Bright Utilities. We get deal flow. People know that we do deals in the utility sector, so we get deal flow. But when I was starting, it was rough. Now, I will say it's a little easier to cultivate deal flow in a recession because there aren't as many buyers out there. So if you're listening or watching this video during a recession, that's actually a great time to go out and start cultivating deal flow. Whereas in a bull market, not that you should just give up in a bull market, but if you're trying to get started in a good economy, well, everybody and their brothers out there looking for deals. So it's going to be that much tougher. So you're going to have to work even harder and really make a name for yourself. But you have to be resourceful. Think about, if you build a deal team like I recommend, your lawyer, your accountant, your industry expert, who do they know? Who can they put you in contact with? I'm not a big fan of using accounting and legal firms up front, but if you do partner with these professional firms, in some instances, they may have deal flow, though admittedly, they're usually not going to share their best deal flow with you until you build a track record. But maybe your team has a track record that you can leverage. You have to get ruthless about finding deal flow, though. That's the real punchline. All right.